So I'm trying to break this up into smaller pieces. It's a challenge for me to be a little bit more focused. But in the last video I just recorded, I wanted to express that idea that and again, every teaching is partial, incomplete, addressing a particular need, a particular problem, or a particular, you could say, pothole on the path. So you got to feel, you got to be discerning, you got to be wise, you got to figure out what works for you where you are at. Right teaching at the right time is a great thing. The wrong teaching at the wrong time is something to just disregard, or the right teaching at the wrong time is something to keep on the bench or on the back burner, or just disregard. Just trust that the right teaching comes at the right time. You'll hear it. Yeah, and I got that teaching from an Adyashanti video, probably a long time ago, many years ago. And it's just I think it's a very useful thing, because surrender is everything. Surrender is the path to God. Surrender is the path to healing, to wholeness. It's like, let me just rest in God. Let me lay on the lap of the divine. Let me lay on God's lap. Let me be held. And that is such a balm, such an antidote to the frenzy of our kind of default settings in this life. Our sort of cultural, social, maybe even biological, maybe most deeply biological default settings. And that surrender really is the whole path on one level. You can say it that way. It is that simple. But you can get idealistic about that. You can get idealistic, have this romantic notion that I take my hands off the wheel. God, you take control of the wheel. Let go and let God. More of you, less of me. And that's, there's something so pure, so beautiful, so true about that. Yeah, I'll just say that idea of letting go and letting God. And you can kind of have this sense, this intuitive sense that can be definitely buoyed and encouraged by certain teachings or certain interpretations of teachings, or by certain exemplary figures on the path, like a Ramana or an Eckhart. That the surrender itself, just the full, I'm fully in, I'm fully committed, God. My machinations, my movement, my strategies, it's just not working. My path has failed. And in some cases, for some of us, spectacularly failed. I have failed. The sort of that my efforts alone have not brought the fruits that I sought. I've become immiserated, caused pain, worldly success has not brought the peace, the transcendence, the relief, the healing, the liberation, the freedom that I had hoped for. So at some point it becomes, it's almost like at some point it's no longer an option. You taking the wheel. It's like it's no longer, that option has been exhausted. That route, that avenue has been exhausted. But at some point it becomes your delight to just say, you know what, there has to be a higher way. It's like the trust fall. You kind of trust fall back into creation. And you see the fruits of that. You see the ice starting to melt. You see some healing starting to break through. You see some depth coming forward, some light shining through. There can be a certain delight. I mean, you also catch hell. It's like you're no longer running, you're no longer avoiding, you're no longer running from the infernal heat of all the pain and suffering and repressed stuff inside, right? So, but there can be a kind of delight in that burning process, kind of recognition of the goodness of the process, no matter how awful it feels. And what else do I want to say that might be of some use? You don't want to be homeless on the path. If you can avoid it. If you're in India, it could be a sadhu, a mendicant monk, or a mendicant. I don't know if that's redundant. Kind of a holy beggar. Somebody who has dedicated their life to God. And there's a cultural context and a carve out within Hindu tradition and other traditions in India and in other places. Maybe, yeah, I mean, and we do have the figure of the monk in the Catholic tradition, and it's not completely foreign to the US, but let's just say homelessness in the US and in most places in the world, and in India too, with certain exceptions, but is not going to be evolutionary. It's not going to be the most evolutionary. It's not going to be the most helpful. And again, yeah, it in many ways is the route to greater immiseration, greater trauma, greater pain. So you want to create conditions for healing, for growth, for evolution, for peace, for the flourishing of your spirit. Stop that one there.